Dpat has been Brent Faiyaz's go-to producer for his entire career. But what is it that makes his beats so special? Let's start by listening to what you heard.
Fuck your mind up. Waste time.
This beat is very simple using a 2-chord progression. I play something similar on my guitar. Brent loves spacey ambient beats, so I processed it with a preamp, compressor, guitar amp, and heavy reverb. On lots of Brent's Dpat produced tracks, there are different synth layers, with what you heard being no exception. So I added something similar to our beat. And finally, for this very simple melody, I added some synth key chords underneath. Now I want to show you guys some of the crazy ways that Dpat does his drums. Let's take a listen to Been Away.
I know I've been away.
On top of the hi-hats is what sounds like a perk loop made out of bird sounds. To do something similar, first you need to find a bird texture on Splice, then chop parts that have somewhat of a transient and put them in time. Then you just need to stretch it to make it faster and pitch it up to make it sound more like a hi-hat. After that, I added a hi-hat following the rhythm of the guitar. Then I added a snare. Next was a kick. I layered 2 sounds together, one for punch and one for texture. And finally, we have 2 basses. One is a guitar bass, and the other is a synth bass. Dpat loves to do this to create contrast in the low end. For our second beat, I wanted to take inspiration from my favourite song on Brent's latest project.
Same city, same hoes, can't move out.
As you can hear, the main instrument is an electric piano playing some dark chords, so I added something similar. If you want to achieve Dpat and Brent's sound, you need to leave lots of space and also use minor chords. Now the processing is where we can get creative. I added a reverb, delay and compressor, but did something a little bit different with them. I automated the reverb, giving it a sort of reversed effect and helping it fill the space. Next, I added a piano layer. The piano on Pistachios sound like it's sampled and has some percussive layers mixed in with it. To make something similar, I added a perk with the same rhythm as the piano underneath it. Towards the end of the song, the beat switches, introducing these amazing guitars. The first chord is arpeggiated and the second is strummed. They're both processed differently, with the second part having a tremolo effect, giving it that pulsating sound. Second to last, I added a string melody, which Dpat used to transition between the 2 halves of the beat. To finish the melody, I added some vocals which were inspired by Where You At.
I be doing shit I really shouldn't do for real.
These washed out vocals are what Dpat uses to make sure Brent still has enough room for his own vocals. All I did was add some reverb and lower the sample rate, leaving us with this. Next, let's look at some more Dpat drum techniques. First, I carried on taking inspiration from Where You At by adding this plucky synth bass. A trick to make your bass lines more interesting is to use notes from the chords as well as the bass notes. After that, I added a snare. Dpat loves to use vintage Timberland and Neptune style bounces and sounds. The hi-hats on Pistachios are very jittery, so I did a similar pattern for our beat. There are also 2 shakers and a perk loop. To finish the beat off, I again layered 2 kicks together.